it's perfect. Welcome to episode 2 of Kitchen Conversations. Today we're making brown butter chocolate chip cookies and recapping my 1-year anniversary of a rhino and septoplasty and why I unfortunately need a revision. If you haven't seen my 6-month update, that goes into far more detail of the journey and the process. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. I try to upload twice a week, every week. I went on a huge cookie kick last year and this was the best one. Whew, it's officially been a year since I've had no surgery. We are actually just over a year. And if you notice me get out of breath, it's because my nose surgery didn't go too well. 3/4 cups of butter, which is 1.5 sticks of butter, into a pan. These cookies do their best when the butter is browned. I mean, they're called brown butter cookies. Browning the butter is the hardest part of this step, and it's very, very simple. Once you do it once, it just is the easiest thing in the world. And it's definitely worth the extra dish. On medium heat, and we're just gonna get it to melt all the way. And then we're gonna keep going a little bit. After it melts all the way, it's gonna get to this like toasty brown color. It's gonna smell kind of nutty. That's when it's done. It doesn't take very long, you just don't want to burn it, so keep your eye on that. And then when we turn it right there, you'll see it start to brown. I'm gonna let it go for another couple of seconds because I want those granules at the bottom a little bit more. All right, nuttiness is really popping. We really see it's brown all over, so I'm gonna shut mine off. Into the bowl that you plan on mixing everything, we're just gonna transfer the brown butter to it. Oh, it's beautiful. So back in 2022, May, I got a rhinoplasty and a septoplasty. So septoplasty is when you have a deviated septum and you get it fixed by an ENT. And a rhinoplasty is when you surgically change your nose. Cosmetic surgery maybe, not plastic surgery. A little bit of background, the reason that I did the septoplasty was because I've always had a very big deviated septum. It's affected, you know, I've been congested. I've always been really nasally. I could never smell. My mom says I couldn't breathe either. I don't think I couldn't breathe. I think maybe it was difficult and it affected my sleeping sometimes. But I don't think it was like, for some people it's very hard. Mine was just more of like a minor inconvenience. But I really wanted to get a rhinoplasty. And I've always wanted to because I had very large, prominent Arab nose, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their insecurities growing up about it, and everybody gets used to it as they get older, and for most people it stops bothering them. We always say like we grew into our nose, or we got really proud of it over time. And I think I hate saying this on the internet because I don't want people to feel this way about themselves, but to some end, I almost don't care because it's like, it's the truth, you know? I am not like the most naturally beautiful person according to today's beauty standards, or even any beauty standards. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's okay for people to look different. It doesn't mean that I don't feel beautiful, because I do. But it means that I feel like sometimes I need a little bit of help to feel like pretty. So that's doing my hair, that's doing my makeup, that's wearing contacts instead of glasses, getting braces when I was young. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Again, it's not a big deal. I feel like it's okay to know yourself, and I know myself. I don't mean it in like a way that I'm being mean to myself or anything. It's my truth, and that's fine. And again, that might be the way that I feel about it, but not the way someone else feels about it, and that's fine. I had the opportunity to get a septoplasty, and insurance would cover that part because my deviated septum was pretty severe. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna be here anyways and under the knife anyways, let me get the rhinoplasty. But also getting the septoplasty, a big decision player in that was, could I also get a rhinoplasty at the same time? And when I went to my doctor, or to the doctor, to start to understand what that process looked like, I'm just waiting for this to cool down a little bit before I put 1 cup of brown sugar in. He said I could do both at the same time. I would need to pay for the cosmetic part out of pocket, but the rest of it would be covered by insurance. So I was like, okay, let's do it. From what I read, it would take a couple weeks to feel better, maybe even less to go back to work. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's schedule it. I knew an engagement was coming up soon, so I wanted to do it before that, and I wanted to do it before the wedding and all that stuff. So I went in, I got it done. I didn't feel fully prepared. I felt like maybe they didn't tell me everything, or the doctor's office didn't fully prepare me for it. They definitely seem like they're people who, they do this every day and they're just quick and they feel like everybody understands, when in reality we all don't understand and we all haven't done it before. So I feel like I went in a little bit unsure of what recovery would look like. For me personally, recovery was very I felt like hard. The anesthesia was really, really heavy on me. I was vomiting, which is normal for the first day that I was home, and you go home right away. I mean, it's a same, do the surgery in the morning, go home. Didn't have an appetite for a couple of weeks. My mom was feeding me for several days, like 5 days. I was like pretty much on the bed. My little sister said it felt like a hospital every day for 5 days. Didn't like really get up and start walking without the help of my mom, probably till like 5 days later. A few months went by and I still wasn't breathing very well. 6 months went by, I wasn't breathing really well. Can't like really blow my nose, nothing will ever come out. You'll notice uneven nostrils all the time. I gasp for air very frequently, even if I'm not talking that long. It's really hard for me to take a deep breath when I'm exercising. It's pretty difficult to breathe through exercises the right way. I wake up a lot at night. I don't know why that is right now. I know I wake up to use the bathroom a lot, but I'm not sure if it's also related to breathing. I feel like my body has changed a lot in the last year. I'm not sure if that's related, but it might be. I feel like it is, because I feel like when you breathe, that's how you release fat cells. When you burn fat, fat leaves through your breath, which is super weird, but your fat cells leave through your breath, and I feel like I haven't been able to breathe very well, and I don't know that my fat cells are leaving through my breath. So, or maybe not as efficiently and effectively as they would be had I been breathing well. I don't regret the surgery because I do still feel, even though my nose is uneven, it's not perfect and it's not small by any means, I feel like I have more of a face, like it's not all nose, like I look less like a snuffleupagus and more like a girl. So I don't have regrets about doing it. If anything, I have regrets about not asking more questions and maybe not doing my research a little bit more on which doctor to go to. The doctor that I went to was the first doctor I saw, and he was recommended by my husband, who went and got a septoplasty because he had a very severe deviated septum that affected him a lot. So he got that when he was a teenager, before I knew him. So he recommended me to his doctor, who does have 5-star reviews. I think his lowest review is from my mom. So I just said like, yeah, I'll do it with him. I didn't really tell him what I wanted with the cosmetic part of the surgery. I just said, you know, use your best judgment, whatever you think will fit my face the best. And that was kind of it. After months of recovery started happening, and I was Googling, like, is it normal to still not be able to breathe? And a lot of things said yes, recovery takes a very long time. A year in, I was like, I need to go back to the doctor because I cannot breathe. I'm gasping for air. I don't know what's going on. So I went back and he said, I have obstructions, and it's scar tissue that never healed and is just like in my nose, and it's blocking my airways. So I have to get a revision. I asked like, what could I have done to prevent this? And he basically said nothing. It happens to like 1% of people, 1 in every whatever people, he said. They just don't heal well. And I think mine process was hard from the very beginning on my body, and it just never healed well. Now, a lot of people ask me if I have regrets, would I do it again now that I have to do it again? And I don't have regrets because, again, I feel more confident in terms of the way I look. This is a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar. I did have a lot of kind of reservations, and I think I still do, just with getting any cosmetic surgeries. Like, is it what you want to pass down to younger generations? Is it something you want to teach younger generations, that it's okay to change your face or to change your body, and maybe that you're not good enough the way you are, that you have to meet society standards with appearance? And the truth is, human beings are visual people, and we always are going to be. No matter what, as humans, we're going to want to be out what we think is attractive to some extent. Wanting to feel beautiful or look pretty or whatever, that's a human desire, that's normal. I'm on the internet every day, I look at my face every day, I edit my videos over and over and over again. I hear my voice and I see my face. More than anybody should probably hear their voice and see their face. And just like I want to be in the healthiest body for my body, felt like my nose was kind of the same thing. I didn't want to push it beyond what was healthy, but if I was under the knife already and I had another reason to do it, why not? My biggest concern, my biggest doubt, my biggest drawback is if I have a daughter ever at one point and she has the same nose and she wants to change it. My biggest concern is that I'm going, because I did it and I don't look like my daughter, it will increase my future daughter that I don't have. Any insecurities that she may already have, or maybe wouldn't have had we looked the same. But me in isolation, me alone, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think about my appearance a lot less because it's done. And if I breathed better, but my nose was still uneven, I still had like one nostril bigger than the other, when I smiled, it swings to the left, right? If that still happened, but I could breathe perfectly, I wouldn't get a revision. By any means, I would not go under the knife again. My recovery was the worst. 1 full egg, 1 egg yolk. That egg white can get put to the side, used in something later like an omelet. But because I have to go under the knife again, and now it is very medically necessary, I cannot breathe, then of course I told him to fix the unevenness because we don't need to suffer. We don't need to suffer. Egg and egg yolk go inside. Grab your vanilla extract, and we're gonna go with a teaspoon in there, and then you mix until combined. Those are all of your wet ingredients. See how you have this really glossy, well combined mixture. Now we add in our dry ingredients. So we're gonna do 1 3/4 cups of flour. I like to scoop mine with a spoon so that it's not packed tightly and we get a more accurate measurement. Baking soda, 3/4 tablespoon, and salt, 1/2 teaspoon. As far as recommending a rhinoplasty to anyone else, septoplasty, that's like medical necessity. So that's up to you and your doctor. But rhinoplasty, you can get that done without needing a septoplasty, and that's completely choice and completely just what do you want. And nobody can tell you whether or not you should get one. It's easier for me to go days without wearing makeup, just like a simple makeup free day, because I'm more confident in the shape of my face. I'm very vocal about the fact that I did it, sharing it on the internet 1,000 times over and over. I think transparency is important too, because I know I would look at the internet and see girls and be like, wow, I'm the only one with a nose of my size and shape. And then after I did my nose surgery, people would say like, oh, I did mine too. And I was like, what the heck? All these people got their noses done and I would have never known, ever. I'm really bummed I need a revision and I really wish I didn't, but I cannot go one more day not doing anything about the fact that I can't breathe. This is a 4-ounce chocolate bar, also very delicious without any chocolate at all, if you guys aren't chocolate people. Now, whenever you cut a chocolate bar, you get shards of chocolate and chunks of chocolate. The combination of both the shards and the chunks, especially if you mix with chocolate chips, that all-around combo makes a really elite chocolate chip cookie. Plop it, perfect. Don't have any more sea salt, but we're gonna top these with a little bit of regular salt because anything sweet needs a little bit of salt. Balance it, and then we're gonna refrigerate for about 30 minutes. I think it's best refrigerated overnight or for a couple hours, but it should be great for 30 minutes. Hardest part of these cookies is not eating the whole batter because the batter is very, very good. To the fridge, and then in 30 minutes you can do a lot. You can clean up your station, so we're gonna clean up, we're gonna do the dishes, all of that. Never don't make something because of the time that it needs to sit, because in the time that it needs to sit or bake or cool or whatever, you can be using your time doing something else. I think a lot of people who are new to cooking or baking don't know that. They don't know how to use their time wisely. A lot of things that keep people away from cooking or baking is the time it takes, and they see like, oh my gosh, this needs to be in the oven for 45 minutes or it needs to be in the fridge for 30 minutes to overnight. That's okay. Go do something else. Come back to it. It'll be there when you're done. These are hardened. They've been in the fridge for actually about an hour. I just did a bunch of different things. Pretty straightforward. This is how we want them to look. So they have that nice little sea salt top. You see the shards of chocolate inside, and they're firm to the touch. I could squeeze it hard and they'd come apart, but I don't want to do that. What I'll really often do with these cookies is I'll freeze most of the batter. So I'll put them into a little container like this and I'll freeze it. It makes a lot, and I really don't want to cut the recipe in half. I know I will eat them at some point, or I'll use it at some point. The Tupperware gets frozen sometimes too, and I don't love that, so we'll go into Ziploc bags, make everything easy. You can freeze them baked too, but I like freezing them raw because when you bake them, they come out like a fresh cookie. And you just want to defrost them in the refrigerator before you bake. Then you just store it flat in the freezer. Here, we're just gonna bake, what do you think, David? 2 at a time?
Yeah.
2. So these cookies are supposed to spread, so we're gonna bake them like a couple inches apart. If I was baking all of these right now, I would have 2 separate baking sheets, or I would do it in 2 batches. They cannot all fit on one baking sheet. Into the oven, 350 for 8 to 10 minutes. It's been about 9 minutes, so we're just gonna take a peek. Oh, they definitely look done. Still soft, and oh my gosh, maybe these are a little bit more brown than I want them to be. Let's see. See how those are brown around the edges? That might be too brown. And that top is a little brown. We want that doughy. It's gonna continue to cool and cook as it cools. So you don't want this to be firm or hard. That will make a hard overbaked cookie. I actually want to slide this off the pan because I don't want them to continue cooking on the hot pan. Like that. I'm just gonna take this sheet and quickly slide it off. I want those to definitely stop baking. So you have to let these completely cool before you break in. Sorry. You're gonna impress everybody you know with these. Look at that inside. See how the chocolate just does this like incredible thing? I can't even describe it. These are the best cookies ever. My nose surgery might need a revision, but these cookies definitely don't. Legitimately perfect every time. Like, I can't even describe to you what I mean when I say it's like a bakery style cookie. Like, you are not going to go to a restaurant or a bakery anywhere in the world and get a cookie better. I 100% stand by that. I 100% believe that. If you enjoyed this video or you want to see more like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns or just reflections. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. I try to upload twice a week, every week, and follow on Instagram and TikTok at Practical Nutritionist for more daily.